Hey, it's October the 3rd, and we're past the three-quarter point of 2019, and I'm not going to achieve my goals. I'm not selling the number of homes that I had set out for myself. I'm getting the listings, but I'm not selling them. And I'm going to do some soul searching and share some information with you, and hopefully together we can find out where I'm headed and how I'm going to fit in to this real estate market in the future. Okay. Carrie here. Wanted to talk to you about some numbers that I've come across and some information that has caused me to rethink the path I'm on. If you've watched my videos in the past, you know I've been in the business about 3 years, and I have been very successful in getting into the luxury home market. And I have to put some explanation around the word successful. I've been very successful in getting listings. I haven't sold as many as I would have liked to. I had expected that I would sell roughly 70% of my listings, and it's not that good. It's probably somewhere more closer to about 45%. So I've had to do some soul searching, and quite often when you do soul searching, you start throwing the blame on yourself. So I wanted to dig in and find out why exactly I wasn't having this success. If you've watched my videos, you know I choose who I want to work with. I show up for every listing. I create videos. I publicize those videos. Some of my videos have gotten over 2,500 showings. So I have been successful as a result of that, of getting listings, but I haven't hit the numbers I want on sales. So this month I went into my MLS and went into under resources and went into statistical reporting and came up with some numbers. I wanted to know why I wasn't selling. Now, what I have been directed to or forced to do is go, our county is made up, or our market is made up of two counties. Jefferson County, which is the center of the government and the inlying communities, and then Shelby County, which is the expansion of our city, and that expansion happened basically in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. So first thing I looked at was, and I segregated it down to homes of over $750,000. And as you can see on the chart here, in 2018, that is October 2018 to October 2019, there were 694 homes over $750,000 listed. 369 of them sold, or that's 52.8%. They sold for 96.7% of the asking price, and their average day on the market was 66. So then I separated it out, and I said, okay, how does Jefferson and Shelby compare to just Shelby County? Now again, Shelby County, if you go in over 750,000, you're going to pull in the gated communities, the communities that were built in the 90s for the baby boomers to build their McMansions. And there's probably about 4 or 5 of those communities. So in that same period, Shelby County, of the 694, represented 201. They had 68 sell, and their percentage dropped to 33.8%. They sold for 97.6% of the asking price, but they were on the average house was on the market for 103 days. What I want to point out in that number is 1/3 of the houses sold. Now then, what I wanted to do is say, was this an anomaly? Is it a trend? What can I learn from it? So I went back through, and you're going to see here on this chart, I looked at those same numbers for Shelby County all the way back to 2009. Now, what I want to point out is in 2009, and we were still in the subprime crisis. There was 153 homes that came to market in Shelby County for over $750,000, and 21 of them sold. That's 13.7%. Now, to those of you who were in the business back then, that's probably not a surprise to you. But then look as you go up. Basically, each year, the number of homes for sale in that price range, and these aren't new homes, these are used homes, the number keeps climbing. But what you see is once you hit somewhere in the mid-20s to low 30s, the percentage sold never goes up. So what's causing this, and what can I learn from it? Well, I think I know what's causing it, and it's demographics. Demographics are the study of the aging of the population. Our population is basically in four categories. You've got 0 to 20 years, where you are a total burden on society. You have to be fed, you have to be clothed, you have to be educated. You earn no money, you pay no taxes, so you are a burden on our society. From 20 to 40, you become a wage earner and a spender. This is the time when you start earning money, you start paying taxes, and you buy everything. So you support the economy from roughly 20 to 40. From 40 to 60, you become a saver. You provide the money for our stock market. You invest and you save, and that gives money, makes money available to grow businesses. And then from 60 on up, you again become a burden on our society because you stop working, you don't pay taxes, you start collecting Social Security, you start taking money out of your savings and your 401ks and your IRAs, and you become a burden on the stock market because you start taking money away. Well, the largest segment of our population up until 2 years ago was the baby boomer generation, those people who were born between 1946 and 1964. The first one of those baby boomers turned 65 in July of 2011. Now again, look at the numbers, and as you can see, from 2011 through 2019, the number of homes in the over $750 price category in Shelby County just keeps climbing. These are the baby boomers wanting to downsize, wanting to get out of their gated communities where they're paying big HOA dues, they're having to maintain the lawn. They've got a 8,000 to 13,000 square foot house that they're having to heat, air condition, and maintain, and they want to get out of them. Now, the question then becomes, why aren't their children buying them? Their children are Generation X. They came into Earth after the first baby boomer, or the end of the baby boomer generation in 1964. Well, the problem in that, it stems back to May the 9th, 1960. At that time, let's see, I was about 16 years old. And the Food and Drug Administration okayed the sale of the birth control pill. When I was a teenager, a young teenager, the worst thing that could happen to you as a teenage boy was you got her pregnant. That was the end of your life. You probably had to end up marrying her, and you had to drop out of school, and you might have gotten a deferment so you didn't have to go to Vietnam, but that was the end of your life until May the 9th, 1960, when the birth control pill was introduced. Now, it was a prescription, but an awful lot of moms didn't want their daughters getting pregnant. So, as a result of that one thing, Generation X is 25% smaller than the baby boomer generation. So our buyer's pool for these McMansions, these 750 plus homes in Shelby County, is 25% smaller. Now, if that weren't bad enough, the Generation Xers bought their first home in somewhere in the late 90s, 95 to 99. This is the first run of the baby boomers. They bought their second home because they wanted had started having children. They needed a bigger home. They bought their second home somewhere between 2003 and 2007. Well, then what happened to them? We, the baby boomer generations who control Congress, who run the banks, who run the real estate world, pulled the rug out from underneath them with a subprime crisis. We created false investment entities made up of bad mortgages because we, the baby boomer generations, wanted to speculate in real estate, and it collapsed. So the Generation Xers, if they were lucky, they lost their equity. If they weren't quite so lucky, they lost their home because they lost their job. Now, as a result of that, our government went into panic mode. And as a result of that, they pumped money into and saved the banks and pumped money into our markets. When in 2007, our national debt was $8 trillion. It took us over 200 years to accumulate that debt. $8 trillion. In 2018, our national debt, first of 2018, was $18 trillion. We more than doubled it, getting us out of the subprime crisis. More than doubled our national debt. Today, October 2019, it's $22 trillion in debt. So what has created the boom in our stock market? Here's a chart. Look at the growth of our national debt from 2009 to 2018 and compare it to the S&P 500. You're going to see they run on a straight line. So our stock market has been financed by our grandchildren because they're the ones who are going to have to deal with this ever-increasing debt. So, with all this being said, in this study that I have done, I'm going to ask the same question I asked in my last video. And what I said is that technology is changing the real estate market with Amazon, with artificial intelligence. And I asked you the question, where do you fit into that? With the information I just shared with you, I'm asking the question, where do I fit into the current real estate market? I don't want to go through listing expensive homes, spending my money on video and advertising and promotion, and selling less than 45% of them. I need to rethink my business plan. I need to look at what I'm seeing here. And if my numbers are different than yours, good for you. But I suspect they're not. Because just yesterday, I saw on Squawk Box, CNBC's morning stock market show, a specialist come in and say that New York City has hit an all-time low in the sale of luxury condominiums and apartments in the past 9 years. I don't think the problem's only in Shelby County, Birmingham, Alabama. I think if you will get into your market, I saw a Wall Street Journal article saying in Denver They have these multi-million dollar ranches that they can't sell. Every Sunday, I believe, or no, Friday, in the Wall Street Journal, they run a section called Mansions, and you see one after another of these huge mansions that have been on the markets for years and they can't sell. Who's going to buy these houses? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm of the opinion that being a smart businessman, I need to change my business model. In my future videos, if you want to find out what I decide I'm going to do, you be sure to subscribe and hit the bell, because the bell will notify you every time I come out with another video. And I'm going to be coming out at them pretty quick now, because I think I want to share with you my learnings so that if you're in a similar situation, or if you're a totally different situation, you can learn from what I'm learning. Okay? I'm going in a different direction. The other issue that I found in here is that, and Tom Ferry says this, if a house has been on the market for 3 months, 6 months, and it isn't selling, it ain't priced right. And that's the problem that these boomers have. And in some cases, it isn't even. They aren't willing to accept that only 33% of the houses that are on the market in their price range are going to sell. And if they don't price it right, and if they don't fix it up, it ain't going to sell. And it will go, if it went from in 17, 179 to 201, next year, it's going to be 250 of them that went on the market. And again, only a third of them is going to sell. I don't want to be in that game anymore. So stick with me, ring the bell, subscribe. And if you want to know more about me and how I think and what the market's all about, read my book. Go to bestofusagents.com, register to be on my mailing list where I'll drip out materials that I use. But you'll also see there where you can buy the book on Amazon.com. That's bestofusagents.com. Read the book, and I think you'll find it interesting, and I think you'll find it educational. I want to help you achieve your goals, but I got to achieve my own first. But I'm going to share.